Hi, this is Kim from Paranormally Yours, and today I will be doing a weekly recap. Since it has been a while since my last entry, I have completed 6 books since my last entry, so I will just roll them all up into one video for you as quickly as I can. The first book was Shadow of Doubt by P.A. DePaul. It's a romantic suspense. It is about Cappy, who is with a military ops group that is supposed to be a secret group no one knows about, and they get sent in to do, super secret undercover kind of rescue missions. Anyway, he rescues a young girl who is kidnapped by the cartel, and he ends up falling in love with her. I really love the characters, Cappy and his friends, and we really don't get too much into the girl's history or character. She's just, the love interest. But it was really good. I really enjoyed the dialogue and the relationships between the characters. It was very entertaining. I would highly recommend it. It was actually book 2 from a series, and I have not read book 1, so I didn't feel like I wasn't getting the inside joke on anything, I mean, I would say it's a standalone, because I got through it pretty well without feeling lost or like I was missing anything. The next book was an audiobook from my private collection, Star Wars by George Lucas. It was the dramatized version of it that was actually created for radio. And so Mark Hamill narrates his part as Luke Skywalker in the book, and then you have a ton of other narrators, actors, actresses that are also involved in, sorry, my nose is all itchy, allergies. So there's a ton of other people, it's dramatized, so they're acting it out. You even have the sound effects of like C-3PO and R2-D2, Chewbacca, the music, everything. It's all in there. It was awesome. There was actually some stuff added to the storyline that wasn't in the movie to give you more of a personal connection with the characters. Like they added a whole scene and a whole group of people that were Luke's friends, and there's also a story backdrop on Leia and her father, so that it was nice. I mean, I've seen the movie itself like a billion times, so I know, everything about the movie. So when you listen to a book that has some changes and some, additions like that, it was a really nice, I would have listened to it anyway. I mean, I had it, it was an Audible daily deal kind of thing. I bought it thinking, for those commutes to work or something, I would have something entertaining to listen to. And, so I always kind of had it, there. And I just finally got around to listening to it, and it was really, really good. And again, there's too many people to mention, so I've got it all on my blog with all the narrators' names and everything, and a narrator review on there as well. It was well spent money. And they actually have Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi on there available as well, dramatized. So I will be purchasing those and listening to them because it's just really cool. The next book that I read was Haunted Destiny by Kelly Abell, and that was a book that was donated by the author to my book club, Paranormally Yours Book Club. And it is a YA paranormal thriller. I I gave that book 4 fangs. It was very, very good. I really enjoyed the storyline. It was about a young girl who lost her family in a car accident, and the survivor's guilt that she was going through and feeling. She went to go live with her grandmother, whom she'd never met because her grandmother and mother were at odds with each other. And she meets her neighbor, who is this snotty rich girl who doesn't really care for her because she thinks her boyfriend is interested in her, which he's just a really nice guy. You know, he's just one of those people who's not being nice because he's interested in her. He's being nice because he's a nice person. Anyway, the girl in the story, she has an ability that was passed down to her through the females in her family line, and she can see spirits. And apparently she learns this after going with the grandmother, and so the grandmother, you know, teaches her and tells her all about their history and everything, and they end up having to fight this evil creature thing that I don't even know if anybody really knows what it was. And the neighbor girl and her boyfriend get involved. It's just a big, huge, awesome, scary, cool story. I really enjoyed it, even though there was no sex in it because it was YA. The storyline was really great, and it was, you know, I kind of forgot about there not being any sex scenes or anything because, you know, I was so involved in the storyline. So that one I gave 4 fangs, and I really enjoyed it, and that was for the book club. The next book was an audiobook, again from my own private collection, Dead But Not Forgotten by Charlaine Harris. And that is yet another one that I'm a big, huge Sookie Stackhouse fan. I have listened to every single book in that series on Audible. Every time short stories came out, novellas, whatnot, I would grab them, listen to them. And this was one that I hadn't listened to yet. I actually had it in my Audible for a while and just hadn't had the opportunity to listen to it. It's very long. There's a lot of stories in it. So the deal with this is Charlaine Harris opened up her story of Sookie to other authors and gave them the opportunity to write a short story about any of the characters from that world they wanted to, that they really enjoyed and liked, and just went with it. You know, just wrote a little story about them, about whatever, but it had to be within the Sookie world. So there's a lot of, you know, every single story on there is written by a different author. And it's narrated by Johanna Parker, and she's the original narrator of the Sookie Stackhouse series. So, you know, you hear a familiar voice if you listen to the audibles. I really love Johanna Parker. I really do. She is just like the voice of Sookie. I mean, she's just, I love her. I gave the audiobook 5 fangs. My favorite one was the, you know what, and I didn't write it down, the title of the story, but it's on my blog in my full review. So if you want to go check it out, I have all the stories listed by title and which author wrote it next to them, so you have the full list and know who's in there. But my favorite one was the one where a story was written about Catalides and Diantha. And it's Christmas time, and they are visiting Sookie and Sam and their children. So this is the future. So Sookie is pregnant with their 3rd child, child, I believe, in the story, and so they have two kids, and one of them is a telepath. It's really, really cute. It really made me miss the series, just listening to that particular story, and it would have been great to have like another book written like that involved them in the future. But yes, again, they were all great stories, all of them. There wasn't one I didn't like. So yeah, Five Fangs, check it out. It's awesome. And my next book was Taken by Desire by Valerie Twombly, and that one was part of a blog tour that I had done for her. It's a paranormal romance. It's the first book in a new series that she started, and I gave it 4 fangs. This book is about demons. The main character is a prince demon, and he, how do I explain it? Okay, breathe. He comes across a human, and he ends up saving her life. She's being attacked by enemy demons of his. So he jumps in and saves her, and in turn gets injured to the point where he needs help. So he takes her with him to the demon realm, wherever that is, wherever he lives, and so that she could help him heal, because he wasn't going to be able to do it by himself, and he would have died. So she's kidnapped. She's in this world where she has no idea, and she is stuck trying to figure out how to help him, because he's like half unconscious and trying to tell her. She's instantly attracted to him physically, and they get into the story goes into his background with his parents, the king and queen, and where they're from, and who they're at war with, and the relationship with his God, his people's God, and her spouse, and it's just freaking amazing. I mean, it starts out, and you think it's going to be like a really simple, predictable kind of romance story, and then it like completely flips the tables on you, and then you're like, whoa, okay, we're getting more intricate, more involved, more layers onto the story, more, the characters are getting more developed with the information that's being added on to their, their lives. So it turned out to be a lot more than I had expected after reading the first few pages. That's why you can never just read the first chapter and decide, yeah, I don't like this book, because I've had many books that started out kind of slow, kind of you weren't sure. You're like, oh yeah, I could totally see how this is going to end, and then they just completely turn around on you and turn into this big ball of, complicated Lord of the Rings kind of book, So yeah, by the ending of this book, I was like, whoa. And then she ended it the way she ended it. I'm like, hey. So now I need to listen, or I need to read the second book. Hurry up. And yeah, I totally loved it. It was awesome. And my last book was Hong Kong Heat by Raven McAllan. And this was a book that was donated to my book club as well. And it is a contemporary romance book. I'm getting conflicting information on it, whether it's book 2 or not, because, certain places that I've looked for the title and information on, I get that it's book 2, and then others, it doesn't say anything afterwards, so I don't know. I don't know if it's book 2 of a series or book 1 or what, but anyway, it read fine. I mean, it didn't seem like it was part of any kind of series or trilogy. If it is, it's a standalone. It's about this woman in her 40s. She's a widower. She has 2 adult children who are, live on their own now. And she's on holiday in Hong Kong. She is from Scotland. And she's staying at this fancy hotel. And she's just, seeing the sights. Because she never got to go anywhere apparently when she was married. So she's living it up, traveling around, seeing everything she's always wanted to see, which is a great start to a story. You're like, wow, I could totally relate to that, It's like, whoo! And then she meets this corporate dude who works for the hotel she's staying in. He is he's a consultant. And he's there investigating a embezzlement situation from some prior ex-employees. And so the romance is supposed to be between the 2 of them. And I don't know if it's because the book was written about 2 people from another country, not here, in another country, not here. I don't know if that's what the problem was for me, but I didn't care for it. I had a really hard time connecting to the characters other than the fact that the main character was there on holiday, a widower with children and starting her life over. That's the only thing I related to and that I understood. The rest of it was really hard. The language, the slang was different. And I didn't know what it meant because, I'm not from Scotland, I'm not from Hong Kong, I'm not from England. I don't know their slang, okay? So when you write talking like somebody from another country like that, and I've never been there, and I'm not from there, and so I have no idea. It doesn't compute. It goes over my head, and when I don't understand what they're saying, that kind of takes away from, that takes away the impression I'm going to get from the book. And, you should be able to understand what you're reading. The other thing is that the way they talked to each other was really abrasive. Like they were always angry with each other or something, is the way that the dialogue came across. And again, I don't know if it was because, we're talking about people from other countries. Is that how they talk to each other? Is it going to come across as I don't know. I have not written my review for this yet, so I'm just on the fly right now with you on my impression of this book. I just finished it. We will be discussing it in our meeting tonight, and so I've yet to write the review. But when I do, I will post an update on this video so that you know, and you can check it out, because maybe I just need time to process and think of how I need to articulate to you what the problem was for me with this book. But like I said, the dialogue was horrendous. And whether it was because I didn't understand it or whether it was because how I interpreted it, they were like always mad at each other, or like I didn't get it. Okay, it was supposed to be a romance book, and I wasn't feeling any love. Even the sex scenes were awful. They didn't. Yeah, they were bad. So anyway, that is all my books for my weekly recap. And like I said, I will give you a update when I post my full review for Hong Kong Heat. And I'm trying to get on a schedule where I will post a video every Thursday. That will be my day of the week for my new videos for you to look out for. So until next Thursday, have a great week. Bye.